Good day, everyone. This is Jennifer Hellman, and this is AIR, Abstract Illusions Radio, where we explore and expose the different aspects of the human experience through spirituality and creativity. And today's guest is all about exploring the adventures of life. He is an artist, a musician, photographer, painter, writer, all-around good time. He is the universal artist, cultural ambassador for Consciousness Collective, and he's a love fest. I just absolutely love Jason Potvin. He is just, we connected through Facebook, like many of my guests, and we just have a really strong, he's my brother, and I just absolutely had to come on and have a conversation about art and music and how it really is having a wonderful renaissance of helping this planet heal through self-expression and letting people speak their mind. So, Jason, hello and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Jennifer.
Now, you're a young one, actually. You're not that old.
I am.
But yet, you are an old soul. Now,
Definitely.
You just started a new website. Now, I forgot to tell it, so I'm going to let you say it.
It's jasonpotvin.com, and it's basically my portfolio of all the different works that I do.
And his work is fantastic. You've had artwork in several galleries in New York, and you've played your music in several different places in New York as well. You have a connection with the UN, correct?
I do. I actually was just at the UN last week where I filmed a guru from India named Mother Maya, which she should be putting that footage up on her website pretty soon.
And that's amazing. What is that all about? What work are you doing with the UN?
So basically what's going on at the UN is I'm part of an organization called the Society of Enlightenment, and what happens there is basically all of the different, basically ambassadors of peace, all the different gurus, all the different saints, people who are here to help with this paradigm shift. I'm basically filming these people give discourses about various different topics that deal with spirituality and deal with being able to maneuver through this very challenging time right now that we're experiencing with this whole, transcendence of this dual paradigm.
So you're really having quite an exposure in a lot of different kind of masters teaching you along the way by filming them.
Exactly. It's a really beautiful opportunity to be able to have these experiences and meet these people and be able to share this information, because I know, like, right now people are searching and seeking for anything that can help them navigate and maneuver through so much complex stuff that's happening in our world right now. It's literally shifting because we've moved out of the age of Pisces and we're about to, I don't even know if it's happened yet, but we're moving into age of Aquarius, which is a whole different game, whole different change.
And it really is. It's all about finding the individual within the collective and supporting both entities in a very wonderful and beautiful way that really is going to help the earth evolve into what it's meant to be, which is really a Garden of Eden. And music I was talking to actually my next guest, who's all about sound as well. He studies the Kabbalah, Anthony Darkstone, and we will talk to him later, but we both agree that music, and I'm sure you agree too, that music has really helped the paradigm shift a little quicker because of the collective energy and the high vibration of music.
Yeah, definitely. Anything that takes you out of your intellect and your logic, which I feel as a culture, we've really overdeveloped a lot of intellectual faculties, and I feel like right now we're balancing out the creative side of the hemispheres of the brain, which which really are, they come from a more illogical place, a more mysterious place. It's not something that can be like a Plato logician linear way of seeing things. It's more complex, and it's more about letting go and kind of allowing yourself to stumble through the dark and turn on that light and find and see what's in front of you, what's right within you.
And do you feel that artists have a greater understanding of knowing that there's a truth within them that is kind of aching to be expressed?
Definitely. I feel there's an artist in every single one of us.
Yes.
For sure. And I feel it depends what kind of art you're doing too. It depends what you're exploring. It really depends upon the intention that you're putting behind what you're doing, and the emotions and that drive that you have for it, that passion, that fire. It's really dependent on that. It's very subjective too. Everybody, has a different interpretation of the different expressions of creativity. And that's what makes art beautiful, is any kind of art, whether it's music, whether it's painting, whether it's photography, writing, there's always something to take away from it, and everyone is going to take away whatever is necessary for them when they see the work and when it triggers a response in them.
Yeah, and that's the beauty. I agree. That is the essence of what self-expression through the arts. It's to me, art is like intuition. They both are there, and they marry to each other, and the expression of it is really a part of your soul kind of waking up. To me, every time I write a poem, it's a little bit of me that I'm sharing with the world.
Exactly. And that's so beautiful. We've really looked kind of down upon being vulnerable and what seems to be weak, but actually I've found that vulnerability and that weakness, or what appears to be weak, is actually our greatest strength, because it teaches us how to navigate through these challenges. It teaches us how to humble ourselves. It teaches us to tap into things that we otherwise wouldn't have tapped into if we had just, known everything all at once and followed like the logical linear aspect of our minds, which is just as beautiful too. But, life is all about balance. It's all about being like that tightrope walker who walks that line, and anytime we ever get to one extreme side of walking that line, all we got to do is just shift to the other side and balance that pole out. So I find that as an artist, you're constantly adjusting that pole so you can walk that line and just keep going, keep pushing yourself.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's balancing that intellect, the artist within, the male and female energies, receptive and receiving, with the giving. It's beautiful that you have, in many ways, kind of found several niches that you do amazing work in any and all of it. Do you think that the process of it of really going through, because you have read a lot of the sacred texts and you have appreciated Osho's work and the Kabbalah and a lot of different modalities, do you feel that has gotten more of a boost through your art? Or do you think they're just mutual tools within the adventure of life?
I'd have to say both. Both, definitely. The teachings that have been passed on to us from, the various different entities who have come before us, still continue to ring true, because, in life there is the essence of life. And the essence of life is in nature, and that's what a lot of these teachers brought into our world, is reconnecting with nature, reconnecting with that natural process that occurs every single day on the whole earth. And I believe that that's what we need to get more in tune with, you know. And all this war and all this conflict and all this destruction, like, it had its purpose, it served its purpose, but we need to really utilize the gifts that we have been given, because we can either destroy the world completely or we can create it. And it's really up to you about the energy that you want to put into your life. And destruction is easy, anybody can do it. But I've learned that what makes you really powerful is not the fact that you could destroy the whole world. It's the fact that you know you could destroy the whole world, but you choose not to. That's what makes you strong. And that comes right back to vulnerability, and that comes right back to that illusion that we have of what we deem as weak within humanity.
Yes.
It can be our greatest strength.
So has there been one of the people that you have been filming that really taught you something new about yourself that you'd like to share?
Oh, man, it's kind of hard to narrow it down like that to, you know, because every single experience I have with these people, I'm always learning. I mean, even in this conversation right now, I'm learning. If you stop learning and you stop growing, then that's where things get stuck. You know, we're here to ascend, and the only way to ascend is continuously to know that we can learn from life and equally teach what we know, so we can share it with the world. In the same fashion that you could take a flame from a candle and light so many other candles, and then there's tons of light, and there's tons of flames. It's like the transmission of the lamp, so to speak.
Yes.
It's consciousness.
So with the with lighting the flame of somebody else, I mean, every interaction you're going to have some kind of impact. It may be positive, it might be negative, but you always have that interconnective residue. I don't want to say residue because that sounds so negative, but essence that you leave behind. I mean, people might not recognize how much they've impacted somebody till 3 years down the line, but there is that impact. Do you feel that people are becoming more aware of that impact through your art, through your music? Are you getting more of a feedback saying, wow, this really says something to me?
I definitely get some feedback from people. I don't always get feedback from people. And, you know, because sometimes the messages that come through us, sometimes it takes time for people to understand them. You know, you look at the world, you look at the media, you look at the newspaper, you look at the television. We're bombarded by so much, like, subliminal messages and so much programming, like what they call on the TV, and so much news that's happening in the world, in the paper, and so on and so forth. So as an artist, I feel sometimes it can be quite difficult to share these messages with the whole society and the whole culture, because sometimes the people don't understand it. Sometimes it's a little bit above them. But I've noticed too that, like water takes time to cut through stone. But water is strong. Water is very strong. It can cut through stone. It's just not an immediate thing that happens. And it can be soft, too. It's malleable, it's fluid. And I would like to think, as an artist, I believe it's our responsibility to be fluid and to allow ourselves to travel through these places, regardless of whether we think it's a positive experience or a negative experience. You're always going to take something away from it. I feel that a negative experience, it's not really a negative experience. We've been taught to feel bad about it, to feel guilt and shame about it, but my life path is to remove that guilt and shame from life, from those negative experiences, because they're actually very grounding experiences. That's all they are. Negative experiences teach us the same way that the piece of coal teaches us what the possibility of what it is to become, which is a diamond. And the positive experiences, they expand us. They are that diamond. They are that transformation. They're the results of working through that negative stuff, in the same way that the earth puts so much pressure on that piece of coal and brings it through that transformation. It's only a matter of time before it catches up. It's just, we got to have patience, and we got to see this journey through. And I know it's difficult. It's difficult for all of us, but it's so worth it. All of it, every single moment. And I wouldn't trade anything at all. I wouldn't change anything about my life. It's perfect, exactly the way that it is. And if we can realize that, we have life that's here right now, and we can work with it, then we can do amazing things. Mm-hmm. We need to get out of that paradigm of thinking about what we don't have and what's not happening and all that stuff, because what you don't have and what's not happening will never do anything for you. You can't do anything with nothing. But
exactly.
At the same time, the nothing is like the placeholder for everything.
Exactly. It's like the more you know, the less you know. And the more you want to produce, the less you actually will produce.
Exactly.
So it's
recognizing that.
Yeah. And understanding it is a process, and whatever you do is perfect and divine. And it's understanding that you're perfect the way you are, and having those, what I call the dark nights of the soul, have made my experience richer and deeper, because it made me go within and see different situations and how, number one, I created them. Number two, it gave me more responsibility for my thoughts, my words, my actions. Whereas before I just not think about what I'm doing, now I'm more conscious and more in the now of what is truly important.
Exactly. And that's beautiful. And that's brave and courageous of you, too. And you should definitely recognize that.
Well, thank you. With doing the art the way you do, the music, the writing, the painting, do you feel like you're speaking your truth, and regardless, you're going to hold on? Have you ever done like a piece of writing or a piece of music and said, no, that doesn't resonate with me, and felt like you needed to change it? Or have you gotten to the point that you say, in that moment, that's my state of mind?
Exactly that. In that moment, that's my state of mind. And I'm going to validate the authenticity of that moment, whether or not it is whatever the truth is. I don't even know what the truth is anymore, other than life. Life is the truth. I honor all moments. I mean, even right now, like you just talked about the dark night of the soul, I'm definitely going through some dark night of the soul stuff right now, and there's many ways I could maneuver this dark night of the soul right now. I can reject it, and I can, say it's not supposed to happen, and I wish it was like this, or, I can have all these lofty ideals, or I can embrace it and just be like, all right, fine, let's go through it. Let's see what happens. And I'm noticing the more I accept this dark night of the soul, the more I accept this transformative process, the more it supports me. It's like the whole world is a mirror of ourselves, and it's constantly reflecting back to us where we need to grow, where we need to let go, and where we are too, and what we're doing. And it's intense, but it's beautiful. It's beautifully intense, I would say.
Yes, and going through that transformation, which I've gone through several of them in the last 12 years. Not always easy. A lot of times there's a lot of confusion, and the emotions are like all over the board. And just grounding yourself and understanding is a process, is the best thing you can do. And just keep breathing. Whenever I stop breathing, that's when I really start freaking out.
Exactly.
And it adds to the confusion and the chaos. You know, it's like out of the chaos comes grace in many ways. It's a beautiful mix. I've written a lot of poetry. I do a lot of writing when I'm processing. That's the way I really like to see, like, be the witness through my words is the best way to describe it. And it's helped me to go back and read some of my stuff and say, wow, I've gotten even more insights by reading it later. And to me, there's just been so much expression out there right now. Like, I'm connecting with a lot of street photographers who are just capturing those moments.
Yeah.
And it's just like in poetry, to me, you're capturing that moment, and to go back and edit it. I mean, there might be a few grammars or spelling or something, but the feeling, the essence of those words are what makes that moment. And it's like that photograph. You don't want to touch it.
No. It's like when you plant a seed in the soil, and then the tree grows, and then you see the tree. Sometimes the tree grows, and sometimes the branches are messed up. Sometimes the leaves are messed up a little bit. But there's nothing wrong with the tree. And, you know, sometimes you got to do a little pruning to make it.
You got to do a little pruning, and you got to understand the roots are going deep.
Yeah.
And
the roots that's where everything is too, the roots. That's where, when you see a tree and it has a problem, you can always go to the roots and find the solution.
Exactly. It's like go within. I've known you for, God, I don't know how many years. And you are just such an amazing soul to watch, and to witness and to listen to your music. And your music is awesome. And people can go to, I know they can go to SoundCloud and find you on there, correct?
Yeah, SoundCloud, the username is Pray for Fire.
Pray for Fire. And the music is incredible. And then you're doing some other projects, correct?
Yeah, I'm currently doing one project called I Eat Planets with the engineer of Swizz Beats in Alicia Keys. His name is Kenny K.N.S. Lloyd. And with Jesse Berman and my buddy Nelson, who plays drums. That's one little project I'm doing. And I also been recording subway musicians. This guy, Jacob Cohen, who plays cello, usually at Bedford Avenue on the L train. I've been recording him a lot, too. He's an amazing cello player and just an amazing cosmic musician.
Yeah, no kidding. And there's a place that you could have quite a concert is in the subways. The street musicians around the world are just phenomenal.
Yeah, everybody's really starting to come out more. I even feel myself, I've been through the, you know, kind of the hermit lifestyle for about 5-10 years or so. I've lost track of time, but I've definitely lived inside the cave, and I feel like we're all starting to come out of the cave, and we're all starting to band together. We're starting to really, like, harmonize this world. It really needs it right now. It needs love, and it needs that nurturing and that gentleness, and and it needs that compassion too. It needs, you know, like the thing that's always baffled me about, you know, the old paradigm that we're moving out of is the punishment that is brought upon people, which just perpetuates you being able to understand what's going on. It's like you do something wrong, you're punished. And I've just learned that, you know, an eye for an eye, it really does leave the world blind. And, you know, there's an old Chinese saying, when seeking revenge, dig 2 graves, one for me and one for you, because you never learn anything that way.
Exactly.
We take each other out, and nothing is learned from the experience.
So how do you feel that art overall is helping with the paradigm?
I believe that the art is bringing back the color into life, because we've lived life in such a black and white way. I mean, even over the past 10 years, I've actually literally seen, like, colors coming more into the culture, coming into the fashion, coming into the photography, coming into the painting. Like, life is about color. It's not about the extreme. It's not about the black view and the white view and the Republican view and the Democrat view and the liberal view and the this and the that and all that stuff. It's really about embracing the whole rainbow, all of it. Because without the colors, there's nothing. You don't see anything. Color is key in life because we're all colors in the rainbow. We're all cells in God's body, so to speak.
Exactly. Yeah, and the phrase that pops in my head is we're all different flavors of ice cream.
Exactly. You know, could you imagine eating vanilla ice cream for the rest of your life, or just chocolate ice cream for the rest of your life? That's it, and never knowing the taste of pistachio or peanut butter and chocolate or strawberry, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, there's millions of flavors of ice cream, and nature shows us this too. Nature shows us that it's completely abundant. There are so many expressions of nature that we have yet to even discover on our own planet, in the oceans, in the rainforest, everywhere.
I think it's interesting that I read on the internet that they're actually finding species of animals and plants that they thought extinct coming back.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting how, you know, the rebirth of nature, you know, it's like everything has its time. And they might have gone into hiding, but I think community and contributing to each other, that Aquarian essence is truly coming into play very, very strong these days. And it's just going to keep getting stronger.
I agree, 100%. It's actually really fascinating how nature is constantly telling us a story about human consciousness too, because it all comes from the same source. So if you ever feel lost or confused, just look to nature. Nature will show you everything if you're willing to open your eyes and pay attention, see the story that it's telling us.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. It's our greatest teacher.
It is.
And yet,
I've been seeing actually different, like what you just said, different species of different animals I have never, ever seen in my entire life, but make complete sense, like rainbow-colored birds and rainbow-colored fish. I've been seeing a lot of these, like, new species, and they're all, like, ridiculously colorful, like an abstract painting or just like the colors of the rainbow. And I mean, nature just proves it to us. It's saying, hey, guys, look at this. See how abundant we are? See how much we have?
Right.
It just keeps trying to show us, and we get to look at it, and we get to be a part of it. We get to embrace it and embody the essence of all of this whole thing.
So with all of this going on, and it's a shame that there's a few that want to control it all and don't want to just let it breathe and let it be.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
They're just afraid.
Of course.
That's it. I mean, fear is false evidence appearing real.
Exactly. The illusion.
The beautiful illusion.
Yes. And understand Maya. It's a beautiful time to be alive, even though there is a lot of chaos and a lot of uncertainty. Though, you know, once you start going on your spiritual path, uncertainty is your best friend, not your enemy.
Yes, exactly.
It's learning that can be a trip.
Yeah, tell me about
it. And knowing that everything's going to be okay. And I think that being an artist, we all have found that friend is we're all about speaking our truth, of expressing who and what we are in that moment and enjoying it. And the rewards do come. Sometimes after death, like in Van Gogh, but and a few other major like musicians. They had all the fame, they had everything, and yet they really didn't have the great respect till after they were gone. I do think it's a time now that the artist is going to be paid while they're living, and appreciated for helping the evolution of humanity. It's really a very powerful time of seeing how things are going.
Yeah, I agree 100%. You know, we've been doing this whole, like, selling, like, weapons and stuff, and, you know, selling poisons and poisoning our own people, poisoning our water, all that stuff. That we don't have to do that anymore. We get to create. We get to have new solutions. We get to have clean water. We get to have a clean environment. The earth is only showing us the inner environment that exists within us right now. That's all it is. And if we can see that, then it's much easier to deal with.
It truly is.
To continue to deny it only perpetuates the same problem over and over and over again. Just having the
and also
courage
complaining about it also does the same thing, though.
I know. It's just like throwing more trash on the trash pile.
Yeah, there's so many people like on Facebook that complains about the government and the money situation and the economy and this and that. It's like the more you're just throwing gasoline on the fire, folks. You're not really going to help the situation that way. It's good to make people aware, but make them aware and let them make the choices the best way to express it.
Exactly. And really, the most fundamental thing I've learned is, like, you can either wait for a leader to take life into their hands for you, which you'll always be waiting. I mean, right now, the only current fundamental thing I'm seeing within what you're talking about is we have all these people fighting each other in conflict in the Senate, in the Congress, and in our government, and they're spending so much time fighting each other over viewpoints about things. They're not even really doing much of an action or coming up with a game plan or working together. They're using all that energy to fight each other over perceptions of life and the way life should be. So what are you going to do? Are you going to sit back and wait for someone to make a decision for you? Or are you going to go out into the world and just, and like what Gandhi said, be that change that you wish to see in the world?
Right.
I've always added on to that saying, you know, he said, be the change you wish to see in the world. I say, if you aren't going to be that change, you'll never see that change.
Exactly.
And that's kind of where we're at right now. There's no point in even complaining about it because it's the same energy that is used to fight each other over stupid things. Like, I think we should have red cars. Well, no, blue cars are better. No, gray cars are. No, black cars. Why don't we just have all the cars? Why don't we just get along and work in harmony? You know, this world is like an orchestra. And if we can all tune our instruments so that we can play together, we can create a beautiful song, just like in music. But it's when you have the right players, but all their instruments are not in tune with each other, that's when the discord happens. That's when the orchestra doesn't play together. And as an artist, I truly believe we all have a conductor within us. We have an orchestra within us. It's just waking up the conductor to help direct all of those instruments to make that grand and beautiful music.
Yeah.
And then listen and enjoy it too.
Well, it's like when I first really started my spiritual journey, I got a very strong message that it was musicians finding the one note, true note, that would change this world. So I have the highest respect for musicians because I truly do feel they are some of the most highest vibrational people on the planet, really doing what they can.
Yeah.
I don't see that all musicians really get a clue exactly what power they have with their music, though I do appreciate their message and the energy. It's not always easy to have that dedication and the determination to learn that instrument, to write that song, to harmonize with others and present it out to the world, that vulnerability. Talk about being your authentic self and handing it to the world and seeing what happens. So music sound is very, very important for evolution of humanity. Even people who can't hear music. They feel the vibration of it. So that's how vitally important sound is.
Agreed. The thing about music, too, that is really fascinating to me as a musician, I actually don't even really know how to play music, to be quite honest. Like, if you gave me the fundamentals of music, or you gave me some sheet music or something, I wouldn't. They'd be like ancient hieroglyphics. I wouldn't have any clue what it is. And that's what's beautiful about music is like I said, the song is in everybody. The orchestra's there, the conductor's there. Just waking these guys up within us to make these songs. And definitely, musicians take something that is so abstract, that is so beyond the comprehension that we could find in like a philosophy or in a religion or a science. And you're literally like taking from infinity something so abstract and making it so concrete and channeling it. And you're either singing it, which that's where you are the instrument, or you're channeling it and you're using a guitar, or using a bass, or you're using drums, or using a cello or violin, or, et cetera, piano. But you're channeling something that is so abstract, but bringing it down to the ground, bringing it through that instrument. And that's where the real magic is, when people get to listen to that and be like, wow, those people, they're channeling this thing that makes me feel like the world is beautiful.
Yeah. I've gone to many concerts, and it's like just a giant love fest.
Yeah.
It's just sharing that gorgeous energy and vibration all together. And I've come out of concerts pretty high without even any drugs. But music has that effect on me. It just takes me to a higher level. And really, it makes me higher, and yet it grounds me at the same time. It's a very balancing element.
It is. Definitely. I've definitely gone and seen some amazing, amazing concerts that have completely changed my life. I would definitely say that music would be the first and foremost thing that came into my life when I was like a little kid. I'll tell you a story, actually. When I was a little kid, I was probably about 4 years old, and my mom she was so connected to me, and still is, and she knew that I was going to be a musician on some level. She let me use the record player, and I remember I was 4 years old and I was putting a record on, and I was listening to like Van Halen, like 1984, right when it came out, or like the Police, Synchronicity, and if it wasn't for my mom, like just allowing me to use the record player and trusting me that I wouldn't like scratch the records or anything like that, I probably wouldn't have the same profound appreciation for music. So I definitely want to thank my mom so much for first bringing me into the world, raising me, keeping me safe, but also showing me music and showing me how beautiful music is.
Yes. So we're coming to a time. I know you really, you're short on time, so I don't want to take too much time.
No problem.
So with that, is there any last thoughts that you would like to share? Go right ahead.
Basically, I think everybody on this whole planet should do something that makes them feel good about themselves and empowers them and gives them strength. And we all have it in us. It's all there. It's just you can't wait for it to show up. You gotta be brave and courageous and just go right out in there and go right in yourself and let that stuff come out with that beautiful beautiful music or that beautiful picture or that beautiful painting or that beautiful poem or script or whatever it be, whatever modality of creation that you feel. You know, it could be healing, you know, it could be making food. Like, everything is art. Everything is art. It's just all about you and all about how you harness that energy of creativity.
Beautiful. Once again, Jason Potvin is available on his website, and it's JASONPOTVIN.com. He is a wonderful soul. I highly recommend you check out his work. You'll be seeing him more and more. I just know it. There's definitely the coming out party hasn't quite come about yet, but it's just right around the corner for you. And it's always been an honor to connect with you and speak with you. You're a beautiful, beautiful soul, and you are my brother. So I thank you, Jason, so much for being on air and taking the time to share your thoughts and your wisdom and your energy.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. That means the world to me. To be supported, encouraged, and appreciated is like no other experience I've ever had on this planet. And the fact that you can say that and the fact that you can express that is so beautiful. And I really appreciate you so much. You have been an amazing catalyst in my life who has shared this journey and who has shared so many beautiful conversations with me. And I really look forward to just continuing what we're already doing right now here in this moment.
Yes, and the conversation and the connection definitely is going to continue for a very long time. So I will let you get back to your creating, and we will continue this another time. So I thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time, and you have a beautiful day today, and let's speak soon.